to be fair, I didn't really get into being published and stuff till about 2004, 2005. I'm 60 this year, which is 2020. So when I was about 44, but I was writing from a really young age, really. I was doing short stories and stuff long before I published any books. I can remember at one stage when I was about, 7 or 8, when you send birthday cards, Christmas cards, get well cards, instead of putting to Auntie Olive, happy birthday all my love, Colin, I would put to Auntie Olive and do 2 or 3 little lines. The beginnings of short stories maybe, and that was way back 1968, 1969. So maybe I've been writing since I was a kid, but I took it seriously as I hit the end of my 30s and got into my 40s.
So I guess my formative writing experience would have been when I was an undergraduate. I was studying Spanish and comparative literature, and what we had to do in our Spanish class was to actually write a short story in Spanish and then translate it back into English. They were going to publish the 10 what they called best ones in an anthology, and I was lucky enough to be one of the ones that were chosen. I thought, hey, actually people are enjoying my stories, and perhaps I can make a go of it. And that was really when I sort of started to take writing seriously, because prior to that point it had only ever been kind of a hobby. But this was kind of the inciting incident, I guess, that made me go on to do a master's in creative writing, and eventually to the PhD, which I'm doing now. So thank you, undergraduate course.
I started writing when I was a child. When I was about 11 or 12, I had an English assignment to write a story. I can't remember the exact prompt now, but I wrote about the Gauls, the ancient people of France during the Roman times. I was inspired by the Asterix and Obelix comics, and I did really well on that task, and I found that I really liked writing. During English classes I used to enjoy writing stories. Only after school, when I was in university, did I expand my writing into longer pieces such as my novel.
All my life I've kind of enjoyed writing, I've enjoyed making up stories, I've enjoyed just writing and reading stories, and I never really thought of it as an actual profession up until recently. I thought that I've always wanted to write, so I may as well just try it or get off the pot, as it were. And so I gave it a go, and hopefully it'll have worked out for me in the long run. I know it's a slow process, but we'll try it as best we can.
I first began writing probably about 7 or 8 years ago, just as fun really, just as a hobby. It was something that I really enjoyed. I love reading books. I think most people that write love their books more than anything. So writing was sort of a natural progression. It's something I do for fun. It's not something I take a whole lot seriously. Probably should do more. But it's more of an escapism type thing for me. I have quite a serious job. So for me, writing's just fun, and I think it should be a fun place.
Being a writer was not something I always wanted to do at first. I originally dreamt of being a pilot, but who really wants a pilot that is terrified of heights? Not the greatest thing, I suppose. I started writing song lyrics at first when I was about 13, 14, jotting them down, just getting stuff off my chest. Nothing major really happened with them. After this, while I was still at school, I wasn't in one of the top classes for English, so I didn't think too hard about writing at that point. I moved on from writing song lyrics to trying to write a film script when I was about 15. I rather enjoyed doing that, so I enjoyed the world of it, of creating it. So I went into trying to write a story after a new idea came back to me. That was when I came up with Tridea's Children. At that point it was Tridea's Curse or Cursed Children. So it's had a couple of different titles before it's got into the pieces out now. So I enjoyed writing the book. I used to write it down every day, a couple of hours. I'd write a piece of story on my old EMAP. This was when the first story I had written. It wasn't until many years later that I had rewritten it and realised that I actually enjoyed writing more than anything. Just got to escape into a different world. So that was when I was 15 I originally started, and when I was 23 I decided I wanted to go further with it and actually fill my life with writing and publishing. So it took me a while getting into college and then into university. When I eventually got to university, I realised, well, I was told that I had severe dyslexia and dyspraxia. Maybe if I had been aware of that beforehand, I might have started writing back in school or being at a completely different stage in my life at this point if I had known earlier on. But there's nothing I can do to change that, and nothing I would do. Publishing and writing is something I enjoy doing, and I'm glad I realised I want to be a writer.